Fourth, language. A language is what makes us human. It's how people communicate. To most people, language comes naturally. Language is a system of conventional spoken, manual, signed, or written symbols by means of which human beings, as a member of a social group and participants in its culture, express themselves. Language has their own history and geography. Let's find out more details. The geography of world language is incredibly diverse and complex. There are estimated to be 7,000 over 7,000 different languages spoken worldwide, which varying degrees of popularity and prevalence. Some of the most widely spoken language in the world, including Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, English, Arabic, Hindi, and Bengali. These languages are spoken in many different countries and regions, and often have multiple dialects and variation depending on the location. Other languages are more localized, spoken in specific region or even individual communities. For example, there are hundreds of indigenous languages spoken throughout the Americas, many of which are endangered and at risk of extinction. The distortion of language around the world is influenced by a variety of factors, um, including historical migration patterns, political boundaries, and economic factors. Some languages have spread throughout colonization or globalization, while others have remained relatively isolated. Overall, the geography of the world, um, the geography of world language is constantly evolving and changing, with new language emerging and old language dying out over time.
Language families. Language around the world can be grouped into different language families based on their linguistic and structural similarities. A language family is a group of languages that share a common ancestor, meaning they evolved from a common ancestor language. There are many different language families around the world, but some of the largest and most well-known include Indo-European, Sino-Tibetan, Afro-Asiatic. More about these languages. First one I want to talk about Indo-European. This is the largest language family in the world, with over 400 languages spoken by more than 3 billion people. Languages in this family include Spain, English, French, German, Hindi, Russian, and many others. The second one is Sino-Tibetan. This family includes languages spoken in East and Southeast Asia, including Mandarin, Tibetan, and Burmese. The third one is Afro-Asiatic. This family includes languages spoken in North Africa and the Middle East, including Arabic, Hebrew, Amharic, and Somali. These are just a few examples of many language families around the world. Understanding language families can provide insights into linguistic and cultural similarities and differences across regions and nations.
The ancient languages. The ancient languages refer to languages that were spoken in the past but they are no longer in common use. This language can provide insight into the history and culture of the civilizations that spoke them. Some examples of ancient language include Latin, Chinese, Turkic, Greek, Persian, and others. Latin was the language of the ancient Romans and was widely spoken throughout the Roman Empire. Today it's still studied as a scholarly language, and its basics for many modern European languages, including Spanish, French, and Italian. The Turkic language are a group of language uh, spoken across Central Asia and Turkey. The oldest known Turkic language is Old Turkic, which was spoken in the 6th to 8th century. Next one is Persian language. Persian, also known as Farsi, is a language that has been spoken for over 2,500 years ago. It was the language of the Persian Empire and still spoken today in Iran and parts of Pakistan. And last one is Greek. Ancient Greek was the language of the Greek and was widely spoken in the Mediterranean region in ancient times. It has a profound impact of the development of Western culture and is still studied today as a classical language.
Facts about ancient language. The Akkadian language, which was spoken in ancient Mesopotamia, is considered the first known Semitic language, and it heavily influenced the development of later Semitic languages, such as Hebrew and Arabic. The Rosetta Stone, discovered in Egypt in 1799, played a key role in deciphering an hieroglyphic script of ancient Egypt. The Mayan writing system was one of the few fully developed writing systems of the pre-Columbian Americans. Sanskrit is the primary language of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, and is still used in religious ceremonies today. The Greek language has had a significant impact on the development of Eastern culture and is still studied as a classical language today. Facts about ancient language. The oldest known written language is Sumerian, which dates to around 3500 BC. Many ancient languages such as Latin and Ancient Greek continue to be studied and appraised for their cultural and linguistic significance. Aramaic was once a widely spoken language throughout the Near East and was the language spoken in many parts of the Middle East during the time of Jesus. The history of Azerbaijani Turkic language. The Azerbaijani Turkic language, also known as Azeri, is a member of the Turkic language family and is spoken primarily in Azerbaijani and Iran. The history of the Azerbaijani language dates back to the 11th century, when the Oghuz Turkic tribes began migrating to the region that is known as Azerbaijan. The Azerbaijani language has gone through many changes throughout history. The earliest written records of the language date back to the 14th century, when Azerbaijani was written using the Arabic script. In the 19th century, during the reign of the Qajar dynasty in Iran, the Persian script was introduced as the standard writing system for Azerbaijan. In the early 20th century, efforts were made to develop a Latin-based ring for the Azerbaijani language, which was briefly adopted during the Soviet era. However, in 1939, The Cyrillic script was introduced as the standard writing system for Azerbaijani, which remained in use until the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. After gaining independence, Azerbaijan once again adopted the Latin-based script for Azerbaijani, which remains in use today. However, there is also a significant minority in Iran who continue to use the Persian script for writing Azerbaijani. Throughout its history, the Azerbaijani language has been heavily influenced by neighboring languages, including Persian, Arabic, and Russian. Despite these influences, Azerbaijani has maintained its distinct character as a Turkic language, and it continues to be an important language in Azerbaijan and wider regions.
The main events related to language in Azerbaijan. Here are some of the main events related to language in Azerbaijan. First one is 1918. In this period, Azerbaijan declares independence from the Russian Empire, and Azerbaijani becomes the official language of the newly formed Democratic Republic of Azerbaijan. In 1922, Azerbaijan becomes part of Soviet Union, and Russian is introduced as the official language of the country. In 1939, the Cyrillic script is introduced as the standard writing system for Azerbaijan. In 1989, following political reforms in the Soviet Union, the Azerbaijani language is granted official language status in Azerbaijan, and efforts are made to promote the use of Azerbaijani in government, education, and in culture. In 1991, Azerbaijan gained independence from the Soviet Union, and the Latin-based script is introduced as the standard writing system for Azerbaijani.